I'm going to show you the dumbest business model that exists in 2026. It works literally because it's dumb. It works because it cuts every step of normal business out of the loop. It works because nobody who's supposed to be successful would ever do it on purpose. And what happens in the next several minutes. I type a few words into a tool you've never heard of, and the tool literally builds a finished downloadable digital product. The title, table of contents, all the different cover images and everything else, and I will not write a single sentence of it at all. I take that product and I put it on a shelf where 21 million people are already shopping. I never tell anyone about it. I never run an ad. I never make a video about it. 3 weeks later, I check the dashboard and then the product is bringing in $50 a day on its own. That's it. That's the entire model. There's nothing else. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how you can do it. I want to be honest about why this actually works, because the reason is pretty unflattering to most of the people who could do it. Smart people build complicated businesses. They write business plans, they register LLCs, they buy domains, they redesign logos. They obsess over the branding, and they will spend 3 months on a landing page before they even made a single dollar. The dumb version is not that. The dumb version is to find a painful problem, package a useful solution, and put it where buyers already are, and then move on. It requires you to be willing to do something that on the surface sounds beneath your level of intelligence. Honestly, the reason most people do not do it is not because they can't. It's actually because they're embarrassed that it actually might work. Before I walk you through it, I want to correct something first. Most people think that step 1 is opening an AI tool. It's actually not. Step 1 is actually finding the pain, because AI does not choose the market chooses the market. AI just helps you package the answer much faster. So here are the real 5 steps. 1. Find a repeated pain. 2. Prove people already buy solutions. 3. Turn the pain into a product map. 4. Use AI to build the first draft. 5. List it on a marketplace. That's the entire model, and I'm going to do it on the screen right now. So before I build anything, I'm going to search for the pain. I'm not looking for inspiration, I'm looking for repeated problems. If 3 strangers complain about the same thing in public, that is a clue. If 10 people complain about it, that is a market. For this example, I'm going to use a niche that is boring in the best possible way. First-time home daycare providers. People starting home daycares need forms, policies, parent communication templates, daily schedules, handbooks, emergency forms, and a bunch of other stuff. All the annoying paperwork that nobody wants to make from scratch. And that is exactly the kind of problem that can become a digital product. So now I'm going to look for someone who's already in motion, aka I'm looking for someone who's casually curious, someone who is doing the thing and kind of feels overwhelmed. So let's just scroll through it. When you see posts like I'm starting an at-home daycare or what should I know before opening, that matters because that's a person standing in front of a problem with urgency. So this is actually the signal. I'm not reading Reddit for entertainment. I'm reading it like it's market research. I'm looking for specific words like overwhelmed, confused, paperwork, licensing policies, etc. Because these words tell me what the product should include. So now I want to check for a different kind of pain, like rules and compliance. So I'm just gonna search licensing rules at the top right here. This matters because home daycare is not just watch kids and make snacks. There are rules, there are state requirements, there are local requirements, there are parent expectations, there's paperwork. But this is also where we have to be careful. I am not going to create legal advice. I'm not going to claim this product satisfies licensing requirements. This product is an organization kit, forms, templates, checklists, and parent communication. That is what we include. Now open an official source to support this disclaimer. That's why this product actually needs a disclaimer. Childcare licensing requirements vary depending on where you live. So the product should say this is for organization and planning only. To check with your state, county, and city licensing requirements. And that actually makes the product stronger, it makes it feel responsible, and it tells the buyer exactly how to use it. Now I want to know if people already buy products in this category. I'm going to use Etsy as the main marketplace for this example. This is good. A beginner sees competition and says, oh no, someone already made this. But that's a wrong reaction to have. Competition proves buyers exist. The gap tells us what version we need to build. So now I'm going to look at the listings and ask, are they only a handbook? Are they made for childcare centers? Are they missing parent communication scripts? Are they missing setup checklists? Are they missing daily operation templates? The gap is not daycare forms. That is way too broad. The gap is first-year home daycare provider who needs the whole admin systems in one place. That is way more specific and it is product shaped. So if multiple sellers are offering the same daycare forms, handbooks, enrollment package, and daily reports, then I know this is already a buying category. The question is no longer will anyone buy daycare templates. The question is what more specific version can I make? Now I'm going to turn the research into a product map. I will make a simple table with the pain I found, the product piece, and also like to format. So the product is obvious. I don't have to invent anything. I just need to turn each repeated pain point into one piece of the whole kit. And this is the part that most people skip. They go straight into the AI and say, give me a business idea. And that's why their product is so generic. We did the market research first. Now AI has something useful that it can work with. Now AI comes in not to pick the business, not to magically know what people want. We already did that in the part before. AI comes in to package the answer. So I'm going to paste a prompt that I created before. So notice what I'm asking AI to do. I'm not saying find me a random niche. I'm saying here's the buyer, here's the pain, here's the product idea. Now you need to organize it. And that's the correct role for AI. AI is not the entrepreneur. AI is the production assistant that you can leverage. So now I'm going to ask it to create the first version of the draft. The first draft will not be perfect, and that's fine. AI will give me the clay. My job is to shape it into something a real person would pay for. And this is where most people get weird about AI. They either trust it too much or not at all. And neither is in the middle, but both are wrong. You do not publish the first output blindly. You use it to get from a blank page to a working draft. And that's a huge, massive difference that most people miss. So now I want to improve it before I finally polish it. So I'm gonna paste in a prompt I previously created. So this is actually the step that most people miss. They generate it once, then they publish it. I want the AI to critique their product before I clean it up, because if the product feels way too generic, I know that it won't sell. Specificity is what makes the buyer feel seen. So now I want to improve it before I polish it. So I'm going to make this feel real. I do not need to finish the whole product on camera. I just need you to see that the product has become real. So here's the cover page that we've created. So notice that this document has everything a first-year home daycare provider needs. Like it has the setup section, the welcome letter, the enrollment form, literally every single item that they might need. It includes it. It includes important information like their daily. This is not a masterpiece, but it doesn't need to be. It just needs to be useful. A first-year home daycare provider does not need poetry. They need to stop staring at a blank page at midnight, trying to sound professional, and this is what this product solves. So now I'm going to draft the marketplace listing. So here's the prompt I'm gonna place in right now. So at this point, I do not need a brand. I do not need a logo. I do not need a funnel. I just need a clear buyer, a clear promise, and a product that solves one painful moment. That's the whole business. So let me zoom out. What did we actually do? We found the pain. We checked if people already buy solutions. We mapped that pain into product pieces. We used AI to create the draft, and we made it feel real in the document or the Canva file. Then we drafted the listing. So that's the model: to find the pain, package the answer, then put it on a shelf where buyers already are. That is why this feels dumb. It is almost too simple, but simple does not mean easy. The skill is not typing a prompt. The skill is seeing the market clearly enough to know what prompt to type. Here's the part that I actually want you to remember. Almost every person watching this video, if they tried this tomorrow, would build the wrong thing. Not because AI is broken, but because of one specific mistake. They would pick a topic that is too broad. Fitness, which is dead. There are tens of thousands of fitness ebooks that are already there. Personal finance, that's also dead. Same story. Productivity, that's dead too. The rule is this: the more specific the buyer, the easier the product becomes. Not fitness, but 10-minute back reset for desk workers over 45. Not productivity, but weekly planning systems for nurses who work night shift. Not daycare, but first-year home daycare starter kits for new providers trying to organize parent paperwork. The reason is counterintuitive. You would think a niche topic has a smaller audience, and it does. That is exactly why it works. The smaller, more specific audience has almost no one that's serving them. They're starving. They will buy from the first person who shows up with a useful product. The big broad topics are dead because they're saturated with years and years of content. The narrow ones are wide open. Established creators cannot do narrow. Their business models depend on broad audience. You don't have a business model yet, so you can only do narrow. That's the gap. When you sit down to make your first product, the question is not, what am I interested in? The question is, who's in pain, and does anyone serve them well enough yet? If you remember nothing from this video, remember that. So let me give you a metaphor that explains why the marketplace works the way that it does. Imagine that you're in an airport. You walk past one of the small bookstores in the terminal. You're not planning to buy a book today, but you have a 4-hour flight, your phone's at 12%, and the books are right there in front of your face, and while you're already at the airport. You're already there with your wallet out. So you might as well just buy a book. I mean, you had not intended to. You probably will not even remember the title in like 3 months. That is what shopping on a digital marketplace is. The buyer did not necessarily plan to buy your product today. They were searching for something adjacent. Your product appeared in front of them. They were already in buying mode. They bought. You did not have to convince them from zero. The marketplace did some of the convincing by showing your product to a person who was already looking for a solution in the first place. This is the entire reason the business works. You're not doing the work of dragging customers into the airport. The marketplace already has the airport. Your job is to put a useful book on the shelf. That's literally it. There's actually one thing about this model that makes it different from every other side hustle I've ever seen. A failed product on this marketplace costs you almost nothing. A failed restaurant, on the other hand, can cost you 100 grand. A failed agency can cost you a year of your life. A failed physical product costs you inventory. A failed ebook costs you at most like a week of writing. A failed AI assisted digital product costs you a few hours of focused work, which means you can do it again and again and again. If your first product makes nothing, then you build a second one. If that also makes nothing, then you build a third. Each one is more accurate, better, and it's because you have learned something each time. And eventually, one will hit, and then you can have a winner. Then you can build 5 more around the same exact buyer. 3 of those might flop, but 2 might hit. And then you end the year and you end the month with a small portfolio, and a few of them are actually paying you. That's actually realistic and what you can expect from this. Most businesses ask you to bet a year on a single attempt. This one asks you to spread a year across many small attempts and keep the ones that work. That is the unfair version of the math. So I'm not going to ask you to buy anything in this video. Not yet. Because if you watch what we just did, you already have the basic loop. Find the painful niche, build something useful, put it on a marketplace like Etsy where buyers are already searching. That alone is enough for you to start. So the action today is pretty simple. Pick one narrow niche and build the first version. Don't make it a brand. Do not buy a domain. Do not spend 3 days making the logo perfect. Just open up a blank document, run the searches, map the pain, build the first draft, and get ready for the shelf. That's your first assignment. But I also want you to be honest about where this is going to go, because building a digital product is only the first layer. The bigger play is not just making one product and hoping it sells. The bigger play is learning how to turn this into a repeatable client getting system, and that's exactly what I help people do. So my offer is pretty simple. I help you get your first 10 clients, not just ideas, not just prompts, not another folder of templates that you can never open again. 10 actual clients. And if I cannot help you get those 10 clients, then you do not pay. I'm not going to pitch this whole thing in the video because today was about showing you the mechanism, but I want you to watch the next video with that in mind, because in the next video I'm going to show you what the first year actually looks like. Not just a highlight reel, not just a fantasy version, but the real month-by-month pain from zero to traction. And by the end of the series, you will understand exactly how this becomes more than a product. You will understand how it becomes a client engine. So for today, do one thing. Pick the niche, build the first version, put the product on the shelf. In the next video, I will show you what happens when someone keeps going long enough for this to become a real business. See you there.